This is Sarah Squires bringing you behind the headlines in today's edition of WYO Today Newsroom. Today I am joined by Helen Wilson. She's the Executive Director of the Wind River Visitor Council. Welcome to the show, Helen.
Thanks for having me on. It's great to be on again.
Yeah, so, I know that, tourism and, welcoming visitors is such an important part of our economy and just sort of this part of the state. But I recognize that, while we might value the importance of that, probably there are a lot of folks out there, a lot of listeners who maybe aren't super familiar with the Visitor Council. So maybe we can just kind of start with the basics, Helen. Can you kind of explain to us what the Visitors Council is about? What is the work that you guys undertake? And we can go from there.
Of course, yeah. So the Wind River Visitors Council is a destination marketing organization. We are tasked with marketing our destination, and our destination includes DuBois, Hudson, Lander, Riverton, Shoshone, and the Wind River Indian Reservation, as well as our smaller communities, Jeffrey City and Pavilion. So really all of Fremont County and the Wind River Indian Reservation. We are 100% funded by the local lodging tax. And when somebody stays in a hotel, they pay 7% lodging tax, 3% of it goes to the state, 4% stays local. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the breakdown. Is 4% is local, 3% goes to the state. And we use that money to try to bring more visitors to our area. I can say that last year, travelers to Fremont County spent $175.7 million, and that was in 2024. And 1,550 jobs were supported by tourism. So we are, as I mentioned, fully funded by the lodging tax, which really is the tax that the local people don't pay. It's the tax that the visitors pay. And we use it to do all kinds of fun marketing efforts to bring more people to our communities. Something else that I wanted to mention is that, of course, we don't want to just bring people here and have them have nowhere to go or anything like that. So we also work with destination development. And we recently put in some wayfinding signage. That's a destination development project where we're trying to make the experience for the visitors good. But we also get involved with workforce and with making sure that we are ready for those visitors as they come to our area.
Yeah. So I know that the work that you guys do kind of goes on those two tracks. So sometimes you're doing outreach and that's happening kind of outside the area, reaching visitors. You might be, have Wind River Country featured in a publication that, reaches people who are interested in Yellowstone. I know you've got kind of an exciting project going on at the Denver airport right now. And then some of the other things that happen are a little closer to home with that destination development, funds. And so we're working on local projects that are going to help tourists maybe find their way or, enjoy their stay here more. And you mentioned the wayfinding signage, and I know that's a project that's, you've invested a lot of work into that. And I'm wondering if you can kind of talk a little bit more about kind of the details of what have gone into that. I know we've sort of seen some of the fruits of that labor most recently, a big sign in Hudson, kind of welcoming folks and letting people know exactly what's going on. But what's this wayfinding project all about?
Well, the wayfinding is actually the smaller signs that are appearing in the towns.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Hudson sign, that actually was Hudson. That wasn't part of this project. But I can explain a little bit what we are doing. So we met with a contractor who specializes in community development, and then we put together committees in DuBois, Lander, and Riverton. We applied for a grant through the Wyoming Office of Tourism for Destination Development Funds, which is what is funding this project. And so we had a committee of 10 people, 3 from DuBois, 3 from Lander, 3 from Riverton, and myself representing the whole county. And we worked on what the community feel is. And so with the design, DuBois, Lander, and Riverton all came up with very different designs, but they have a similar look. And so people will still know that they're in Wind River country, but that each community shows its individual personality. We're currently in the process of installing them in Du Bois, Lander, and Riverton, and it's supposed to be finished by the end of the month. This project has dragged on a little bit longer than we were anticipating, so I am hopeful that we'll be done by the end of the month, but it is getting close. And then with Hudson and Shoshone, we recently added those communities to the project. So we're in the starting phase with both of those, of having the committees and working on the designs. So we don't have the designs for those signs yet, but the plan is to put those signs up next summer so that the whole county will have signs that represent the communities. It's a really fun project, and this was separate from the lodging tax. This is specifically Destination Development Program funds through the Wyoming Office of Tourism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that I've really observed about the Visitors Council and sort of this unified effort at, marketing Wind River Country is this kind of delicate balance. Like, we know here in Fremont County that we have very unique community identities, so Du Bois and Lander, they are very different places. Riverton, we are our own little ship in the night here, and yet we all kind of together are Wind River Country. And so recognizing those distinct identities and kind of bringing them together and showcasing them has been such an interesting task. And I think it is, it really kind of illustrates, how much we have to offer too. We're not just kind of one big general area. We've got really curious and interesting communities to explore. And it's really fun to see kind of how we define ourselves when we are sharing, what we have here to offer visitors. So that's a really interesting kind of component, I think, to the work that you guys do. So I mentioned earlier that you've got a project at one of the biggest airports that we've got here in the region and quite frankly in the country, and that's at the Denver International Airport. Tell us what's going on in Denver, Helen.
Well, we have an ad in the B concourse, which is the busiest it's the busiest concourse, but it's the United concourse, and it's right above the escalator. And of course, you take the escalator to get to the train, which takes you to baggage claim or to exit the airport or to the other concourses. And we have a 30-foot wide banner featuring our area. We have it through the whole holiday season. So that started on November 10th. It goes through January 4th. I'm really excited to see what kind of results we get from it. It does have a QR code. It also has the website. But what we're doing is we're trying to capture people who both live in Denver and are traveling for the holiday season, as well as people who are traveling to Denver or through Denver. So this campaign, I've never created a 30-foot ad before, and just getting the resolution on the image was quite challenging. But we worked with a local photographer, Scott Copeland. It's his image that's displayed there. And what I'm really liking is seeing that people are taking photos of it and putting it on Facebook and other social media platforms. So I'm really liking that people are seeing it. And this is the first time we've done something like this. I am excited about it. I'm excited that, locals are seeing it, which means that other people are seeing it as well. And what we're really trying to do is bring awareness to what an amazing place Wind River Country is. And that ad, it says, "I'm dreaming of a Wyoming summer," with the thought that people who are seeing it are probably planning for 3 to 6 months out for their vacation planning. And, they see it enough, or they see the image, and they're going to get that in their head and hopefully visit the website or Google us or look us up and get a little bit closer to planning a vacation here.
Yeah, planting those seeds. And, this ad, which of course started on November 10th, is going to run through January 4th. That is a very busy time, kind of peak travel time for people around the holiday season. So we are for sure planting many, many seeds in people's minds about, what they might be doing this summer. What is a great place to explore? Of course, we know that answer. It's Wind River Country. But yeah, that's, I think, going to be a very impactful marketing effort. And so that is definitely something to celebrate. Now, speaking of celebrations, I know this is a word that probably a lot of radio folks look at and say, you know what, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. But I learned years ago, and I'm not sure why, but we've got our semi-quincentennial celebration coming up here for the United States 250th birthday in 2026. And so, there are a lot of celebrations that will be happening across the nation for this very special hallmark here. And we are absolutely planning some really special celebrations events here in Fremont County as well. I mean, I was just having a conversation earlier. I think we're going to have kind of a big party here in Riverton on July 3rd. And we're sort of trying to, attract different sponsors and folks who want to, showcase something at the party, an activity, maybe music, food and fun in the park. I think we're going to kind of dream something up here at WYO Today too. But I know that, Helen, that you're kind of ground zero for a lot of this planning work that's going into it, where there's a lot of grants that are out there for us to kind of help plan and celebrate this event and a series of events, quite frankly. And I'm wondering if you can just sort of go over what you guys are working on when it comes to this semi-quincentennial celebration here in 2026.
I would love to, and I do like this word. And for me, it was something that I had to learn. But it's semi-quincentennial. I mean, what a fun word. So we of course have to have a good fun celebration. The big project that we are working on is actually a Fremont County project. So every county in the state of Wyoming had the opportunity to apply for funds through an America 250 grant, and the Fremont County Commissioners had formed a committee of people, and I'm on that committee. I'm actually running it with Scott Getz from Fremont County Museums. And the project that we are developing, which is going to release on January 1st, is a 15-location historical tour. We are calling it the Wind River Heritage Quest, a digital discovery. And it's got 15 historic locations, things like South Pass, the Tyhack Memorial Site, and there's 15 of them. Really fun, and it's an audio tour. So you download an app called Travel Stories on your phone, and it will direct you by GPS to each of the locations, and then there will be a 3-minute recording that you can listen to learn about that location. So for example, the Tyhack Memorial Site, you drive there, you hear a 3-minute recording, and then the app will direct you to the next location. As a prize incentive for this, we actually have 3 different prizes that will be available at the museums. Each app does track which sites you visit, so the museums will already have your name. But for those who visit 5 sites, they can get a special 250th Wind River Country sticker. And for those who visit 12 sites, we've got some water bottles that are logoed, made by Fill It Forward, which is a company that promotes sustainable water around the world. So it's an environmental project as well. We also have logoed magnifying glasses for kids. So those can be picked up at the museums. The additional 3 locations are for the more adventurous travelers. So they've got a little bit of hiking and things like that. And there isn't a prize associated with those, but the reward of actually going to them is pretty cool. So that will release on January 1st, and this is a project that we have been wrapping up. We're, of course, in December now. We've got the magnifying glasses just arrived this week. The stickers arrived last week. I think the water bottles are scheduled to arrive on the 15th. We're going to be doing testing of the sites next week. So we are really excited about launching this on January 1st.
Yeah.
As the Wind River Visitors Council, too, another project that we did was we created 250 things to do in Wind River Country, leading up to the 250th, obviously. This started in October, which was 250 days prior to July 4th, 2026, and we've got a different activity featured on the banner of our web page every single day, and then it links to a page that has all of the previously posted activities. So if you've got visitors in town for the holidays and you're maybe not thinking of maybe the perfect activity isn't just quite coming to you, you could look at that list and maybe get some ideas.
Yeah, that is such a cool idea. I did not know about the 250 things to do. And, you know, recently the Riverton City Council kind of gave its blessing to the formation of a youth council. But during the discussion about that, you know, we had kind of the back and forth where, you know, there's young people who live here who think, man, there's never anything to do. And it's like, well, you know, there's lots and lots of things to do. You just don't know about them, or we're maybe not doing a good job of connecting with kids about them. And so it's so interesting to sort of see these kids make those connections with their peers, bring them to the table for volunteer opportunities and things. But just, you know, there are so many adventures that you can find, whether you've lived here for, you know, decades and decades, or you're a visitor. You know, all we really got to do is kind of connect one another to those ideas, those cool locations, events, stories to learn, history. I mean, there really is so much here in Wind River Country to take advantage of. So whether you're checking out the travel story, you know, project that is launching on January 1st, which I want to challenge our listeners here. You might be an expert in Fremont County history, but I guarantee you're going to learn something from this tour. To the 250 idea effort that's being launched here, that I think that there's something for all of us, honestly, to uncover, to remind ourselves about, and to really experience and enjoy and share with others. You know, so if you've got, for instance, families or family members coming for the holidays here, check it out. Do a little bit of research for yourself and make sure that they have an extra special visit here that they can kind of take with them, remember, and make this holiday season really special. And plus, you know, there's so many things to enjoy in the summertime too. Give them a reason to come back. We'll follow that advice. We're dreaming of a Wyoming summer here in Fremont County too. So absolutely make sure to check out all that semi-quincentennial celebration activity. There's so much to unpack there. I know we were talking about your 250 days of ideas and things to do in Fremont County on your website, but I know you also kind of behind the scenes have some project here that you're working on, kind of rebuilding your website. And I am really excited to see what you guys are doing with that. But also, I just want to remind people what an asset this website is. So if you are, you know, planning for relatives to come down for the holiday season, you can find things to do, different itineraries. Remind yourself of all of the cool places you can bring them to in Wind River Country. You know, so there are so many resources we can find there, and it's about to get even better. So Helen, tell us about what's going on with your website.
I am very excited about the website. We've had the current website for a few years now, and of course technology changes, and recently AI has become something that is a driving force with all of everybody's website. So we are doing a complete website rebuild. We are going to have a strong focus on our event calendar. For those who don't know, we have a community calendar for events for the entire county and for the Wind River Indian Reservation. So check it out. It will be very prominent on the new website, which will launch in the spring. But the big thing that is going to be new and exciting is we are working with something called Mind Trip, which is an AI, it's an AI program that will work with visitors to generate personalized itineraries. So this is something that's going to be really special and really good for visitors, but it'll, you know, the AI will ask what they're looking for, and indoor activities, outdoor activities, time frames, things like that, and it will work with them to create a full itinerary. So the new website will have AI. It will have a strong focus on the event calendar. It's going to be clean, easy to navigate, but have lots of really good information for both locals and for visitors.
Well, that's really cool. You've got such a comprehensive events calendar. I know I had some family members come and visit here in July, and I was like, okay, I need to really showcase Wind River Country here. I want to make sure we have really cool things to do. I want to make this a memorable trip. And I was just amazed at the options that we had. Just a random week in July. Most of it wasn't even on the weekend, and there were so many cool activities that we were able to explore and find out about through the Wind River Visitor Council's calendar of events. So definitely make sure that you check that out, especially if you've got folks visiting. You can really kind of pack your itinerary with interesting things to do and really show off this area as well. So, one thing that I know that you guys have really worked hard on over, I think it's been about a year or so, or we're kind of still in the beginning stages of it, is your podcast. And I got to tell you, I've got some reporters who are headed up to Du Bois this morning to attend the library board meeting. And I know, there's probably going to be spots where, they don't have a signal or whatever. And I said, you know what you should listen to? Check out this Wind River Visitor Council podcast, because they have some really unique insight into what's going on in the area and things to experience. And since one of our reporters, our journalist at WYO Today here, is relatively new, I thought that'd be a great kind of little introduction while they make that beautiful drive up to Du Bois. So tell us what's kind of the latest, what's going on with the podcast, Helen, and how can we listen?
Yeah, so the podcast comes out the fourth Thursday of every month, and we try to feature an activity that somebody can go and experience. With our podcast, the thing that makes it really fun is we actually take the recording equipment with us on these adventures. So we have gone caving, we have gone dog sledding, we have gone horseback riding. So we have equipment that actually takes people into these experiences. And of course, there's the hope that you'll go and do it yourself or tell other people about it. For the holidays, we are doing a 2-part episode. The first part was released on Thanksgiving, which was the fourth Thursday of the month, and the second part will actually be released Christmas, which is the fourth Thursday of the month. But it is focused on the Lander Valley and Pushroot Valley Harvest, a celebration of local flavor and community. So it takes people to 4 different farms. This was a CWC event that took place a couple of months ago, and ended with a farm-to-table dinner. So we're really trying to highlight our local farmers, the people who are working with agricultural roots and family-owned farms, and really get to the heart of Wind River Country, which of course is the people. Yeah. And what they do. And we have such great local food here, seeing meadow lark appear in Lander and seeing Fremont local foods appear in Riverton, and seeing all of the different produce and produce and meat and eggs and even bath salts. I was in Meadowlark the other day and I got some lavender locally made bath salts. So there's all kinds of things in these stores. And they're great for the people who live here, but they're also great for the people who visit, because when you visit, you want to take something home that's local, whether that's a gift for somebody or something to remind you of the amazing time that you had while you were here. So, and going back to the podcast, which of course was your original question, We've got lots coming up. We've got one planned with the National Museum of Military Vehicles, actually going through with Dan Starks, the owner, and a horseback riding trip, just to give people the feel of what it's like to horseback ride in Du Bois, actually, is where we recorded it. And we've got rodeos, we've got Tuesday night square dancing, and so we're staggering these. We'll be covering the last stop of the Pedigree Stage Stop Dog Sled Race, which is in February in Lander. So we're really looking for those unique, fun, quirky things that happen in our community, and covering them. If anybody knows of any and has good ideas on this, we're always happy to to hear ideas and to involve community members in this podcast.
Yeah, well, that is such an asset, I think, to our community. And the more I talk to you, Helen, the more I'm just sort of reminded of all of these things we have to offer. Regardless of the subject, it's like, oh, the pedigree stage stop race is coming up, and how can we really showcase that for people? And there's just so many unique things that happen here in Wind River country, and you do such a good job of sort of meeting people in all these different mediums, whether it's the podcast, the website, outreach, marketing, advertising, to sort of pull back the curtain and share all the unique things there are to do and experience and enjoy here. So thank you for that. Make sure you guys check out that podcast. It sounds like the holiday ones are really interesting, and I'm so glad you were able to sort of incorporate that local foods movement here, because it is and it has really taken off. I know CWC does such a great job in sort of enhancing all of that momentum and tying it together through education and opportunities, and really something to celebrate as well. So I kind of mentioned to you before we started this morning that you guys had done a survey over the summer, and I was one of the lucky people that had arrived in my mailbox. And for those of you who didn't maybe get the survey or don't know what I'm talking about, it was basically a survey that sort of took the temperature on residents and their understanding and their value of tourism. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think tourism is to the economy, or, these kinds of things? And, I'm just going 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 down the line. This is absolutely an incredibly important thing here. Tourism isn't just sort of a side dish. Tourism is, main event here. It is so important for our local economy. We think about sort of, our tax structure in Wyoming here is so reliant on sales taxes. And I don't know about you folks, but I really would love for other folks to help pitch in with that. Just this week, we heard a big presentation about the construction season here in Riverton by the City Public Works Director Brendan Thomas went over all of the projects that were completed using the 1% sales tax. And of course, the more folks who come here and spend their money, the more of those projects we're able to complete, the less of a property tax burden that we end up having overall. But I don't know that everyone really connects the dots about, how much money we're talking about. What is the impact to our local economy when we're talking about tourism? And so it just kind of planted a little seed in my mind, like, I really need to remind myself to share that news with people, because I don't know that everyone necessarily recognizes how hugely important that is to everybody who lives here in Fremont County. And I know, Helen, I kind of think of you as our local expert when it comes to the mechanics of what that economic impact really means for Wind River country. And I'm really grateful that we have an organization like the Wind River Visitor Council that not only tracks that, keeps an eye on trends, but also really does such a great job in marketing the region to, really encourage people to come here and visit and, generate those economic impacts as well. And so, I'm wondering if you can kind of lay that out for folks. I want to remind myself, I want to remind others about the importance of tourism and how much it really, benefits everybody who lives here too.
Yeah, of course. And the resident sentiment survey that you mentioned, that was something that we had put together with the University of Wyoming to really get a feel for how people feel about tourism. We have had a significant increase in tourism in the last 4 or 5-ish years. And we wanted to gauge, are people happy about this? We are an organization that is funded by the lodging tax, and we want community input. What we found with that survey was that 87% of people were supportive of tourism and supportive of marketing efforts toward tourism. So that's a good number. We also had some comments that it helps us to figure out where the gaps are and what we can do to bring people here, but also to make sure that residents are happy. As I mentioned earlier, travelers spent $175.7 million in Fremont County in 2024. So that is a massive number. Most people are somehow related their income in their house to tourism, and whether that's business that visitors shop at, or whether it's working as a summer guide or whatever it is. Everybody seems to have some type of connection. The big places that people are spending money, food service is of course huge. That was the number one. I'm just looking at my numbers here. So we had 36.5 million in food service. Accommodation was 30.2 million. And arts, entertainment, and recreation, 26.6 million. So these numbers are huge, and we've got lots of different categories. If anybody's interested in seeing the annual report from 2024, it is available on our website, windriver.org, on the About Us page, and also the results of that resident sentiment survey are on there. We try to be very transparent about our projects and things that we find out, or data. And so anything that you want to see, whether it's minutes from previous meetings or agendas for upcoming meetings, annual reports, the strategic plan, our 5-year strategic plan, which just kicked off earlier this year, all of that is available on our website. But we do use these numbers to inform future projects, as well as the survey informs future projects as well. And we are just really excited to see these numbers going up, but we also need to work as an organization and a community to be able to make sure that we are ready for those visitors.
Absolutely. I just can't say enough about the work that you do and the importance of tourism on our economy. As over the last few years, as I've had friends and family come to visit, I am just so wowed by the things I'm able to show them. And I try to sort of say, let's make this an annual tradition. So I've hooked a few of my friends and family to coming during a certain time in the summer, whether it's coming to enjoy the balloon rally in Riverton here, or coming for the 4th of July in Lander, or checking out the Friday night rodeo in DuBois. There are so many things to experience, and I love that I'm able to sort of feel like I'm part of this world of tourism because of its incredible importance. And hey, you know what? It's pretty fun to be part of those visits and kind of take people around on tours and show off the community too. We all have the opportunity to kind of take part in what's going on around us a little bit more, and really take stock and take thanks for the hard work that goes into it. And of course, a lot of that work is really centered with the Visitors Council. So whether you're planning a trip, an itinerary for visitors coming to check out the community here, or whether you're just really curious about some of those numbers that Helen went over on the economic impact of tourism in Wind River Country, you can check out the community calendar, those itineraries, those numbers at windriver.org. You can also check out the podcast. Don't forget to head to the Travel Story website. I know in addition to what's being launched here with the semi-quincentennial celebration and those 15 significant site stops, we also have a lot of Travel Story GPS tours really blooming on that website. So you can check out different areas and stories and history at Travel Story GPS, including some cool tours they've got on the reservation as well to learn more about that. So I really wanted to encourage folks to check out those resources, and really thank you, Helen, for the work that you do and really kind of showcasing what we've got going on here in Wind River Country. I think we're, over the last 4 or 5 years, as you said, tourism has picked up, and we're maybe less of a hidden gem now because of the efforts that have been undertaken in showcasing and spreading the word about what a gem we have here in Wind River Country.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on today. One last thing that you and I had chatted about earlier is that we really are trying to market our area as a four-season destination. So we've been, doing a lot of advertising around snowmobiling on Togety Pass or fat biking and skiing, and it's just really exciting to see our area really bloom as a four-season destination.
Yeah, absolutely. We do get probably a different breed of visitors, in the winter time, but you don't have to be, an Olympic skier to enjoy Wind River Country in the winter. There's so many different things to do. And, if you feel a little bit stumped, check out the Visitor Council website, windriver.org. They've got all kinds of ideas for things to enjoy when things are a little bit cold outside. But one thing I always noticed is like the mountains look different, when you've got the snow, really kind of highlighting those dynamic peaks. And it's so interesting to see how the beauty is kind of changes with the seasons as well. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to learn more about the different ways that we can explore and enjoy Wind River Country, whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter here, or, all the Christmas things going on. There's a lot going on. So make sure you guys check out that calendar at windriver.org. Well, thank you so much, Helen, for joining me today and helping to showcase all of the cool things we've got in Wind River Country and all of the work that you're doing to spread the word about it.
Well,